Hey, it's Mila. Welcome back to my channel.
I go around and I go around and I go around, I go around. I'm always out, I am always out, I am always out, I'm always out. I keep running so I don't have to go.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Post Grad Diaries. So if you're new here, you haven't seen my face before, my name's Mila. I make everything from lifestyle content, bookish type content. We obviously do these little post-grad diaries, and we also kind of like dip into, I need to find like a big umbrella term for everything, but basically, we talk about music, we tier rank things, we talk about TV shows, reality TV shows. It's just basically overall a very, very fun time. So if any of that sounds interesting, definitely hit the subscribe button down below so you're notified every single time that I post. Obviously I was doing like college things, but I graduated. Like, I'm not gonna be talking about college things anymore, but I did want to take you along in my little post-grad diary of just like things that I'm realizing, I'm learning from other people, I'm seeing people are talking about, and just like, we're over here figuring out life post grad, just life. Just life. So last episode 4, my bad, we talked about little solo dates, the importance of like learning who you are, like finding yourself and stuff like that. This week's episode, we're doing something that I actually haven't seen many people talking about, and I feel like it could be an interesting thing to do a little segment on, which is living at home post grad. Because obviously everyone is like, you know what, after I graduate, I'm moving out, getting a job, starting my life. But is that the reality for everyone? It's actually not. So that's the topic that we're diving into today. So grab a snack, grab a drink, get comfy, and let's hop right in to episode 5, living at home post grad. So first off, let's start with a reality check. Obviously we all know the housing crisis is absolute trash right now. Everyone is like struggling, everyone is having problems. So there is this whole financial aspect, right? Like, yeah, everyone is like, okay, I'm done. Like, I want to like start fresh in the world. This is like my journey. This is like where all the doors open. I'm ready to just like experience the world. But it's like, the price of things is insanely crazy. And like me personally, I live at home, right? You could obviously see I've always been in the same bedroom since I started my channel, but I see my friends, like, they're struggling. Like, yeah, sure, they have the independence, but oh my god, like groceries, bills. Like, someone who I was talking to the other day, he was like, yeah, I had to take my car to the garage and I expected it to be this much money, but then I ended up paying $1,000 more, and then the roof of his building, they're trying to fix it, so he's like a few $1,000s down. There is a big financial thing where it's like, yeah, sure, rents and your normal things are expensive, but it's like all these tiny little things that you're not expecting, these little like emergencies or like last minute things, that they really, really add up. I mean, obviously I saw it in friends, but it was only like now that we all graduated, we're all like moving on with our lives, that it's like, no, it's actually crazy expensive. So that's a big reality that I feel like, yeah, sure, we all know, but when we're like feeling shitty about ourselves, not feeling super great because we're like, our life is on pause, it's like we don't realize the huge financial thing and how much money it actually costs to do it. So that can be like a little pro of staying at home. But then there's the whole emotional thing where you feel stunted. You feel like you don't have your independence. You can't do anything. You're like stuck in this headspace, in this environment from when you were a kid, and it's like, how can I be an adult, do adult things, if I'm stuck in this place where I have people breathing down my neck 24/7? I always have to consider someone else, and like not someone who I choose to live with, someone who I have to live with. And it does have an emotional toll on you. Like, I've definitely had my little, let's call them crash outs, my little crash outs, because I was like, I just need space, I just need room, I just need to be like me by myself. Like, I'm a very social person, I love people, but it's like, I need to be by myself. And when I hear people in my house like talking outside of my door, I'm like, I'm gonna go crazy, I'm about to lose my mind. Like, it does take a huge emotional toll being on home. That's not even like me saying like, oh, this is why you should move out. Like, no, this is just like a reality, like, yes, there are the pros of like the finances, but there's also the cons of emotions. Let's also talk about like social media, right? You see everyone moving out, getting their new apartment, their new car and stuff like that, and it's like, if you're living at home, it like just reinforces this whole like stunted growth type thing, because you're like, yeah, everyone else is moving on, everyone is like buying these like new fancy things, and I'm stuck here. I'm not doing anything, with my life. It's just so stagnant. I cannot move forward because I feel trapped. Like, I know we always say don't compare yourself to social media, but like, this is, I feel like, a really, really big place where you don't do it. Yeah, sure, we all do it for like friendships, for like relationships, things like that. But when it comes to something as big as this, that just like hits such a core part part in you when it's your independence, your like I guess sovereignty over yourself, that like this is the last place you want to go to be like comparing yourself to others, even though I know we all do it. No, we are not doing it here. It's not healthy, it's not good. Stop. Something else when it comes to the reality check, it's like, yeah, sure, like you are at home, you're still an independent person, you know, like it doesn't tarnish your independence. You still have your degree, you still have skills, you're still the person who you transformed into while you were growing into yourself, while you were studying. Like you have all of those amazing things that you developed, and just because you're tied down to an environment that you were in when you were a kid doesn't erase all of these things about you. Like yes, it feels like you're taking a step back, but you still have all these things under your belt. You're still the same person you were. Just because your environment doesn't match it. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, you know, like dress for the job that you want, or like style your place, like be in an environment that like helps you manifest your next life goal, whatever. You know what I mean, right? Your independence does not get erased just because you're not living in your own space. So let's get that idea out of our head. That's the reality check I wanted to start with. Because like, yes, you know, finances, huge thing. Emotional toll, huge thing. Social media, we don't want that. Get out of my face. And remember, you can still be independent without having your own specific environment. Okay, same page, perfect. Moving on. Let's talk more about the cons. I don't want to like stress over the cons, because it's like, no, you know, like yes, there are the cons that we're going to acknowledge so everyone feels heard, because like trust me, I have had my little breakdowns over a few cons, but we're also going to move on to benefits and advantages, because we're not going to sulk and sorrow in our own little thing. No, this is like, we're going to be realistic, but we're also going to uplift each other. So struggles. I feel like the biggest struggle that I want to talk about today is a lack of privacy. A big thing for me is like every time I want to make a phone call, like I don't want to feel like people are just like listening. And obviously like no one is like behind my bedroom door, like ear to the wall listening to what I'm saying. But it's like sometimes, you know, there's some things I say on the phone that I don't want people to hear. So it's like I have to get out of my house. I physically have to remove myself from my room, which is a space that's supposed to be mine, because I don't have this privacy just to have a phone call with a friend, because I know it's things that in the most respectful way, it's like not anyone's business, and it's like not conversations I would have in public. So why would I have them in front of like other people? That is my big thing when it comes to privacy. And it's also like, you know, I want to do my own thing. I cannot do my own thing, be in my own bubble, if I have people talking like right outside my door. Like I guess when you're in apartments, it's the same thing. You can definitely constantly hear, like not constantly, but like from time to time you hear your neighbors, but there's something different about having that in your house, you know. And it's like there's always questions. It's always like you have to ask permission for things. You're not your own person. Yes, I know how I just said like your independence, like you do have your independence. You are the same person who you are, like regardless of where you live, but you're not your own person in the sense that you do not make all the decisions. It's hard. It's not fun, especially when you're like, I'm an adult. I should be able to make my own decisions, but then you're treated as a child. And that's another big thing I want to talk about. Still feeling like you're treated as a child at 23, 24, 25, 26, whatever. We're not children. We are very capable adults. Like, dude, our parents were probably getting married at the age that we were at, you know, like we are definitely not adults, but we're still treated as adults just because we live under their roof. It does bring to light certain not nice emotions. Like it does make things a little bit more volatile. It does kind of create a little identity clash where it's like, okay, you know, like I am an adult, but I'm also a kid. So it's like if in some cases I'm behaving as a kid, like the response is like, oh, you're like X age, like you should know better, you should be acting better. But then also like when you try to do something to be independent, to be like an actual adult, it's like, oh, it's not your house, you don't make decisions. Or it's like, oh, you know, like don't do that, you're doing it the wrong way. And it's like, leave me alone, just leave me alone. So that's a really big con that's one that drives me the most crazy. Like yes, the lack of privacy is a big thing, but it's really that one where it's like, you cannot speak to me in a condescending tone just because I live in this house and I'm your child. You know, like you are your own person. And like I've seen this in my household, I've seen it with other people. Like it's not something that's like specific to you. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it's a struggle. You need to learn to suck it up. I know it's very, very frustrating. It's very, very hard. I'm gonna like talk more about this, but like something that I want you guys to remember all throughout this video is that living at your parents' house post-grad, it's not a sentence. It's not like something, it's not a permanent thing. It's a temporary thing. It's a transition phase. It is a season. It's gonna be hard. Find your vices. Like, you know, if you need space, get out of the house. Get out of the house. No one is tying you to this house. Get out of the house. Breathe. Come back calm. Anyone is trying to bother you, you leave. you're your own person, you can leave. So that's a hard thing that I've been dealing with, like going with that back and forth on like the little identity crisis and like finding the ways to keep myself calm to avoid problems, because you're not feeling like you're treated as someone who's like your age. And I feel like that also gets reinforced more when you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, or when your parents are comparing you to other people. I have a bunch of friends who like, some live at home, some live in their own apartment, and even if it's not just like external forces, it's you in your head. You're constantly going to be comparing yourself to other people. And like, yes, I talked about social media, that's one thing, but I feel like when it's our friends, when it's people who we spend a lot of time with, it stings more, it burns more, it leaves more of an impact, because you are constantly at their place, you're constantly there with them, and you see all the benefits of living alone. You don't necessarily, I mean, I feel like it depends on the friendship, you don't always see the cons, or it's like sometimes, I'm talking to friends and I see certain cons, but then they text me about something and I'm like, oh, there's like even more cons. So yes, you are going to be comparing yourself to others, and it sucks, and I know it's hard. I've been there, I've done that. Not a fun place to be, but they also have so many problems when they're living by themselves that they don't always readily share, that you don't always necessarily see when you are there. So try to think about that, when you start leaning towards a comparison, be like, hey, I have these problems, they have those problems. Would I rather have these problems or those problems? And I feel like odds are you would rather have the more, I guess, like emotional and identity and mental problems than the financial problems, because like hopping right into the benefits, huge financial gains staying home, and you do need to kind of sacrifice on maybe meeting some emotional needs, maybe meeting some mental needs, but then you do have the power of a financial cushion. So if you're transitioning between jobs, you have security. You don't have to think about, okay, like what's my next meal going to be? If my car breaks down, like what am I going to do? Do I keep on having to pay for this and this and this and whatever and bills? You don't have that. You can, like, you're comfortable, you're relaxed, you have the time to find a job. You don't have to think about food, don't have to think about keeping a roof above your head. You don't have to think about a car because you have access to all that. Yes, emotional needs might be a little like wump, as I mentioned in the cons, but you do have that financial blanket. I'm not saying that your emotional needs are like not valid and you shouldn't go to like find solutions to your emotional needs, like deliver things to deal with your emotional needs. I don't know if that made sense, but I feel like you know what I mean. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but it's so much easier to take care of what's inside when you don't have to think about money, when you don't have to overwork yourself to have enough money to just get by, because then you wouldn't even have time to consider yourself. Like, you become backseat to your apartment, to your car, and to everything. So it is a compromise that I honestly started learning that, like, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I want to cry. Yeah, I want to scream. I want to crash out constantly, but I never have to worry about myself. I never have to think, okay, like, what if my car breaks down? Like, am I not going to be able to eat? Am I going to like lose my apartment? I never have to think about that. So if you're, feeling a little bit overwhelmed, just remember that, and I promise it does help you, brings you down to earth. It kind of like grounds you a little bit more, thinking of like, okay, there's this huge benefit I get here. You know what? Maybe that might be the only thing that's tying you to your parents' house. That's not necessarily bad, like build up the money, build up the finances, so once you leave for good, and then you can pick, okay, when do I engage, when do I not engage, so you are able to meet your own emotional and mental needs. You don't have other people around who are gonna like drag you down, overwhelm you, make you go crazy, because you can decide when you put yourself in these situations with these people or not. But that would be when you have the money, so you don't have to come back. Like, yes, it's always going to be there if you ever need it, but once I'm gone, I'm gone. Yes, emergencies happen, but once you're gone, you're gone. Another little benefit is that you do have a support system. Yeah, sure, you're gonna feel overwhelmed, you're gonna feel like you're going crazy, you're gonna feel like you're a kid living in this environment because you feel like you're stunted, but you also have this support system. Like, you don't have to call and wait for someone to pick up if you need to talk, if you need something, if you're just having a bad day, because you have that all around you. And yes, being at home, it could have negative tolls on your emotions, on your mental state, but it can also have so many benefits because you're not alone. Yeah, I know, like, sometimes it's better to be alone in a more, I guess you can say, healthy environment, or one where you thrive in, versus not feeling alone about being surrounded by like people who kind of do get on your nerves sometimes, kind of drag you down sometimes. Remember that you still have people around for the bad times. If you come home one day, you're having the worst day ever, you have people around. You don't have to deal with being alone. And sometimes, even if you don't want to talk about it with people, just having these people in your space around you, like a floor below you, that does help. That really does help. I was gonna say we're human beings. No, humans are people who need people. Like, we live in packs. We're like wolves, you know, like we live in packs. We need people around us. We need a little community. And when you're living alone, you don't always have that. So really think about that, you know, like the times that you feel overwhelmed. Think like, okay, I have my community. If anything were to go wrong, I have people and I'm good. Another benefit is that you have breathing room to figure things out. You know, you don't know what you want to do. Okay, you're fine because you don't have to worry about money. You can try different things. You can start some new hobbies. You don't have to have the first thing on your mind when you're making every decision be, do I have the money for it? Do I have the money to pay all my bills, to pay for food, to pay for my space, to pay for my car, and then have fun on top of it? It's really your time to just explore things, to travel, to start new hobbies, because you don't have any bills to pay. You're not tied down financially to anything. It's a perfect time to explore yourself, to find out who you are. And like I talked about it in, I think, almost every single episode that I filmed, there's always ways to discover yourself, to find yourself, and your 20s is the perfect time for it. You know, yes, sure, you're still gonna discover yourself at like 30, but like you're 20, you're young, you have energy, you have this like essence of life. Discover yourself, travel, explore, do things that might be a little bit stupid, but just so you can say that you did it, you know? And being at home, you do have that safety blanket. You do have the breathing room that it's like, yeah, you know, I mess up, whatever, it's fine. We can get back up from here. When things get tough, really think of that. Because I feel like for me personally, this is the biggest thing that I think about when I'm feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and everything. Like, yeah, financial things is a big thing. Having a support system is a big thing. But having that breathing room, that room to make mistakes, because we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to mess up at some point. But having the room to make them without having extreme consequences put on you, that is truly a gift. That is truly a gift, and that makes all the negative things tied to living at home with your parents post-grad 100% worth it. So we've looked at a few pros, we've looked at a few cons. Now let's do a little survival guide, because yes, you know, so many pros, so many cons. Well, I mean, I talked about the like biggest ones that impacted me. We have pros, we have cons, but how do we survive situations like this? Boundaries. Boundaries are important, and clear communication, because you are an adult. People should not be treating you like you're 5, and if they do, you have to be like, hey, listen, we're gonna talk about this. We're both adults. You cannot talk to me like that. I understand, like, you know, you can work through things because you're an adult. You communicate clearly. Don't put all your life skills or your like, I guess, like adulting skills aside just because you're living at home. Like, do not mentally go back to being a kid, because I hate to be the one to tell you this, but how can you expect people to treat you as an adult if you don't act like an adult? You know, you have to stand your ground, defend yourself, set your boundaries. Odds are like your parents are gonna respect that. Like, I know sometimes it's not always there, but I feel like 90% of the time you put your foot down, you set your boundaries, and they are respected. You just have to gain the confidence to do it. And you know, once you can do it at home, you can pretty much do it with anyone. Like, once I started really setting the boundaries, being like, hey, you know, I'm an adult, like, you cannot talk to me this way, you cannot boss me around like this, like, let's like work and let's find like solutions as like adults. Things have gotten better. Things have gotten so much better, and I definitely see how this has impacted my life, like outside of my house. Another thing, you need to keep your independence. I know when you're living at home, you have to keep in mind other people's schedules, but you are still independent. You have to keep your independence. Have your own routines. Have your own things you do. Let's say your family, I don't know, you have a different diet than your family. Stick to it. Don't make compromises just because you live at home. You know, like, you're all living in this house. Everyone has to compromise. You should not be the only one having to compromise. Have your routines, have your things, keep the same lifestyle. Like, obviously be respectful of other people, but keep your lifestyle and like create more independence. Like, go out, go travel. Like, yeah, sure, you have to tell your parents like, hey, I'm not gonna be home for like a few days, but like do the things, just like shoot a text so they're not worried about you, right? Have your own plans, do your own things. Even if you're at home, be like, hey, you know, I'm gonna need the living room today from like this time to this time for like this, for whatever event, and odds are you're gonna have it, you know. Build your own schedule, build your own routine, and then after a while you're gonna have to stop asking because it's just like automatic, it's just routine, and people know what you do. This is a big thing. Make sure you have your own independence, because if not, you're gonna go absolutely crazy. You're gonna feel like the walls are closing in on you. Keep your independence, because that is the biggest thing that we romanticize when we think about leaving the house. We're independent, we make our own decision, no one else affects us. Keep something like that in your routine every day, and I promise you that will keep you sane in the most like stressful and complicated times in your head. Also, don't forget to continue setting goals, like, you know, have your savings plan, have your plan on when you want to move out, like what you're going to do and things like that. Basically, the whole thing here in your survival guide is to continue acting like an adult. Do not let yourself regress back to a childish mindset just because you're in your childhood bedroom or people are treating you like a kid. Continue acting like an adult. Set your goals, have your boundaries, keep your independence, do what you want to do, because that is what's going to push you to be more motivated to get out of this situation. As I said before, living at your parents' house post-grad, it's not permanent, it's not a sentence, it is a season. It is a transitionary period. It's temporary. Stay with your adult behaviors, your adult actions, your adult ways of life, I guess you can say. Oh my god, what are they doing outside my room? I think they're cleaning the street because it's very loud. But anyways, keep on acting like an adult, and trust me, that is the most important thing in your survival guide. Keep your routines, keep your habits, keep your independence, keep being an adult. So I touched on this like a lot throughout the video. I literally talked about it like 5 seconds ago, but let's reframe the narrative. It's not a sentence, it is a season. It is temporary, it's gonna change. Maybe it might take a few months, a year, 2 years. It will change. You will not be here for the rest of your life. You will not be tied down to this place for the rest of your life. You will leave, you will create your own life, you will move on to the next stage of your life. It's not a season. No, it's not a sentence, it is a season. Also, we talked about this. Being independent does not mean moving out immediately. It means knowing yourself, knowing what is important for you, knowing what you want to do, and continue doing it. Continue doing your routines, continue doing you every single day without having other people hinder on that. Yes, you have to be respectful because you're living with other people. Yes, maybe you have to modify a few things, but having independence is being you and not letting other people change you because of where you are. Yes, you might depend on them financially, but in all other senses of the word, you are independent and you keep that. It is not tied down to your environment. It is not tied down to where you live, to being with your parents or not. You are independent. My camera's about to die. Let me repeat one more time because I know this is something that a lot of people need to hear. You are independent. It does not matter where you live. You have your independence. It's not tied to your environment. I feel like I just said the same thing like 5 times, but I really want to like hone in on this point. And I guess like now let's move on to something like a little bit funner in this little reframing the narrative part. Let's talk about like dreaming about your first apartment. Yeah, you know, you're gonna feel overwhelmed. You're not gonna feel like super great, but have this be a time where you explore, where you spend your entire time on Pinterest. Like, dream about your dream apartment. And I want to tell you guys this little like story that a friend told me. When she was thinking about coming to Montreal, she was looking at Pinterest boards trying to, you know, find something for her like dream apartment. And the craziest things, that we were driving on a highway at some point and she was like, oh, you see like the view over here. I actually found this picture, put it on my Pinterest board, and I only realized when I came to Montreal that like the sign that was on this building was the logo of the hockey team. And her building, I kid you guys not, her building was one of the buildings that we saw when we were driving. Have this be your time to be inspired, to look online so you know what you want when you move out, and you're not like sacrificing things. Because yeah, sure, you know, like some people move out early and they have to sacrifice on certain things just so they can afford it. You're not moving out right now. You can save up money, so when you move out to your dream place, to a place that gives you everything that you want. Take the time to dream, take the time to explore. Build your perfect first apartment and give yourself the time and room to manifest. Like, your homework for when this video is over is to go on Pinterest, spend the next hour on Pinterest, finding things making your bored, getting excited. Because when you are excited, when you have positive emotions tied to it, you are manifesting. And the same way my friend manifested her apartment now, you can manifest yours, and I will manifest mine, and your friends will manifest theirs. And just remember, just because you live at home, it's not something to be ashamed about. It's not shameful. It's not like, it's actually very normal. It's very normal. People don't talk about it. Like, we just see people who move on, have great lives online. But when you look at it, most people who moved out have to work countless hours, are struggling for money, or just don't live in places that they're happy with because they cannot afford it, because they have to think about money, and it's hard. It's not fun. It is stressful. Like, I've seen it in people firsthand. You do not have that stress when you live at home. Yes, you have to make sacrifices. Yes, you have to make compromises, but that stress you do not have. Yes, living alone has so many benefits, but every single day I'm so incredibly grateful that I do not have to pick up countless hours in work. I do not have to work multiple jobs. I do not have to be stressed about traveling, about going out, about seeing people, about this and this and this and this, just to pay my bills, because I live at home and I can have a comfortable life because I live at home. It is not something to be ashamed about. Please do not think it means less about you as an adult. It gives you less, like, lowers your worth. Please do not go there, because it's not true. It is much more common than you think, and it's something that you should truly, honestly be grateful for, because it makes your life easier. And once again, remember, it's a transitional phase. Once you have the money saved up, once you're ready for it, you can move out, and you're going to be so much happier that you waited instead of rushed out and struggled with everything just to have a false sense of independence when you can still have your independence when you're living at home. So that's it for today's episode. Today was it was a faster episode. It wasn't like as much of a deep dive as like my typical episodes, but I still thought it's like something really interesting to talk about, because like no one talks about it. And I feel like that was a big thing that was like on my mind. It was like the pressure to move out, the pressure to feel like I'm moving on with my life. And it's like, okay, I'm not moving out. I'm still living in my parents. I'm in the same bedroom. My life is stagnant. My life is not advancing. I should be ashamed of it. I'm not independent. Then I was like, no, that's not true. And that's why I did want to bring you guys today's episode. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed. You could learn a little something. If you did, definitely hit the subscribe button and leave a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed these videos. If you want to go check me out elsewhere, TikTok, Instagram, and Goodreads, they're all linked down below. And let me know if there's any other topics that you do want to talk about. I don't know how long I want to continue this. For me, it was really just like starting to get a hang of my life, like once I'm done with school. But if you want me to keep going, I'll keep going. I really don't mind. Like, I like talking about these things, because once again, you know, like I help you, you help me, and sometimes by talking I discover things I didn't even realize, you know. So that's it for me today. My Uber Eats just got here, so I need to go eat lunch. So stay safe, protect your vibe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys.